How are you doing after the release of that video? Because I think before that video released, you had under 1 million subscribers. I checked yesterday, you have over 2 million. Did that just make way more of an impact than you thought it would?
It did. I mean, we knew before we went on the African trip, because we went on the African trip in January of 22, and at that point we had filmed almost everything else, and we knew we had something special, but I didn't expect it to quite make the impact that it did. And there was also the question of, because it's a Daily Wire, it's behind it's subscriber content. And so,
were you hoping it wouldn't be? Was there a part of you that thought, let's just?
Well, it's an interesting thing. I had a conversation with the God King Jeremy Boring about many conversations about like the film, of course, and how we're going to distribute it. And he actually said to me, this is what he actually said. He said, I said, well, are we limiting the number of people who can see it if we don't release it? And he said, well, he said, at the time we had 600,000 subscribers. He said, well, who says that we couldn't get, say, 300,000 more people to subscribe just to watch this? Yeah. And then that actually, in the first month, we had literally 300,000 people subscribe to watch it, which is what he said,
so
which is crazy.
That's insane.
No, I'm no mathematician. 50% increase on the total number of subscribers instantly. And the thing is,
You went to Yale.
Listen, fellas. I took AP Calculus, all right, in high school. When that came out, that was a long time ago now. It's still changing laws. It's still happening. I mean, all over the country, this is still happening.
Praise God.
Yeah.
I'm sure you probably couldn't fully anticipate the pushback you'd get from people. Maybe you in a general way, you could probably envision it, but I have no idea what it's been like having these individual attacks coming at you. But do you kind of see this as kind of the Lord's will for you to fight this fight?
I think so. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, and then you kind of take the crosses when they come.
Yeah. A lot of people don't. I mean, there are a lot of security-related things that I can't even talk about publicly just because it's better to handle privately. But people don't understand these trans activists, just how vicious and bloodthirsty they are. People don't really understand that until you are in their crosshairs, because they, the way they look at it is if you're questioning the transgender ideology, it's like you're questioning their very existence. They use the word genocidal. Right. There was a trans activist that just this week was talking about how there's a genocide of as a viral tweet about there's a genocide of trans people, and then he listed all these laws that are being passed. And you hear genocidal, you think, well, that's hyperbole. Of course it is, but in their minds, they really think that this is an actual genocide. And so also in their minds, they're justified in any response whatsoever. And if that means attacking you, if that means coming after your kids and your family, that's all on the table. And so, I knew that going in, that would be their response. But once you're in the thick of it, it's a different deal.
You picked a fight. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what, I actually, unfortunately, am aware of what we're allowed to say on YouTube. So I'll choose my words carefully so I don't shut down your stream.
That's okay.
You are picking a fight with people who don't quite have it all together up there, let's say. I mean, are probably the most visibly not having it all together up there, people on planet Earth. And you're saying, hey, you guys, what you're doing, that isn't right, and your vision of the world is totally wrong. So you're going to get blowback unlike anyone else.
It seemed to me what you were doing, though, is that you were going after the activists, those who should know better, those who know that they're lying. But I sensed a lot of compassion in that video towards those who are suffering. Like, it wasn't like you were going after the suffering and being like, you're bloody mental.
Yeah, that's part of
you're going after university professors.
That's part of the conversation too. Is people there's always this debate about how should you approach this issue or any issue. What's the right approach? Should you be more aggressive and blunt, or should you be more gentle? And it's like, well, it depends on the situation, right? It's not. We have to get away from this idea that we have to have one agreed upon approach and every other approach is automatically wrong. So if I'm on a cultural level, if we're just talking to the culture, then I think to be blunt and more aggressive is the right approach. If you're talking individually to some to someone who's actually struggling with this, who has is confused, then yeah, on an individual level, you're going to be more gentle. I mean, I had
that person in the show. Forgive me, I actually forget. Was it a man or a woman? And this person regretted transitioning on your show on the.
Yeah, that was. We had a few of them, but you're probably talking about Scott Nugent,
yes,
who's a woman transitioned to a man.
Okay.
And is now.
Bless her.
Part of this movement going. She's going to state and advocating for laws banning trans and kids anyway.
No, that's the takeaway. Like people I know who watch it are just they love it, and those who are really afraid that it was going to be overly critical on those who are hurting were like it wasn't like that at all. In fact, I saw some response videos to What Is a Woman from people who are bashing it and actually saying, "No, I haven't watched it." I'm like, why would you even admit that? Just.
There's so many.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Once you talk to the people that have been caught up in this, and that Scott Nugent.
So, sorry, Scott is a woman.
Is a woman
okay.
who transitioned to a man later in life, not as a kid.
But since she can't become a man, she's a woman who goes by Scott.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Could say Scotty.
Yeah, why Scott?
And she says in it's rare that you hear it put so cogently and clearly from people that. But she said she says in the film, I'm a woman who got a surgery to appear like a man, but I will never be a man. But that whole, and I think it's the most powerful part of the film is that interview with her. But the whole interview, because I talked to her for at least an hour, and it was we left. It was even more intense in person than it comes across in the film. But this is someone whose whole life is just destroyed. And she also talks about how she, what the surgeons did to her is going to kill her eventually. She's not going to live. She's probably not going to live to be, 85 years old.
Yeah, that's something that doesn't get said very often.
Right. And once you talk to the people or the detransitioners, once you talk to them and you see just how horrific this is, it becomes easier to take a more aggressive approach.
Withstand the blows of the pushback.
Thank you so much for watching that clip. If you want to watch the entire thing, go over to mattfradd.locals.com. Locals is like a non-woke Patreon. So if you want to support the work of Pints with Aquinas, you can do that over there, mattfradd.locals.com. And when you do, you get a ton of things in return. You get bonus podcasts. You get bonus episodes of things. You get monthly spiritual direction with Father Gregory Pine. You get monthly audiobooks. You get our print newspaper sent to your door quarterly, and we even pay for shipping. There's a ton of things you get, and you also get the satisfaction of knowing that you're supporting the work of Pints with Aquinas. mattfradd.locals.com. Thanks.
Pay Thursday's salary.
Pay Thursdays.